Proverbs 24:16 tells us that a righteous man may fall 7 times, but he will arise again. You're watching Expensive Lessons. Don't go away. Welcome back. You're watching Expensive Lessons with me, Wavinya. My guest today is Lucy Nganga. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much, Wavinya. It's a pleasure to be here.
We're talking about expensive lessons. Tell us, this expensive lesson today, how much did it cost you?
Oh, Wavinya, this lesson costed me everything.
Everything.
It floored me. I woke up one day and had no idea who I am anymore because of what I had gone through.
Wow, today we're talking about a lesson that cost my guest everything. Don't go away. When we return, Lucy will be sharing with us what this lesson was. Welcome back. You're watching Expensive Lessons with me, Wavinya. My guest today is Lucy Nganga, who's here to share with us her expensive lessons that cost her everything.
Yes.
Lucy, everything.
Everything. Everything.
Start from the beginning. Yeah.
So, let me start with the year 2016. 2016, I was working in Arusha, Tanzania. I was living there. I'd lived there for a good maybe 16 years. And in the month of July, we woke up and decided, actually we didn't just wake up, it happened that we planned for it to decide to tour the US.
Who's we? Now
We,
you're
thank you. Thank you for asking that. It was me and my 2 kids at that time. They were very young. And my parents, my mother and my father, my brother invited us over into the US. He just gotten a baby and they needed a bit of help, and mom was invited, and we decided we are going to escort mom and went to the US. Yes, I had been to the US a number of times before that. My work took me, I used to work for an NGO, HIV/AIDS, and my work took me there a lot. But this time around I decided I'm not going to leave my kids behind, let's go on a short holiday. And I had a lot of other things going on in my personal life, so I thought I really needed the break to rethink and re-strategize on the direction that I was going to go.
Wow, so Kenyan living in the diaspora, well, across the border, Tanzania. Yes, diaspora. 16 years. Yes. You now have a family. Yes. You've been invited to America with, yes, you know, parents, children. Yes. That was exciting.
It was very exciting.
So everyone now got their visas and you are?
Yes. To get your US visa when you're working in a different country and you have a work permit is pretty easy. So even for my kids, it was easy to get them the visa, and my parents got their visas in Nairobi. I guess because of the strength of my parents being in the my brother being in the US, yeah.
Probably their age.
And probably their age, wataenda kufanya. The trip came and we were excited and we went, and the trip was an eventful, long trip, as we all know, those who've traveled. We went to Maryland. We went to Maryland in a lovely city called Bel Air. We were very excited because after watching my Fresh Prince of Bel Air, we thought there are very many Bel Airs in the US.
Yeah, so it's not the one in California.
Not that one. This is just like a normal Bel Air, but it was nice to say I'm in Bel Air. Wow. And we met my brother and his wife and kids, 2 kids, and we took care of the little girl, and we stayed there for about 4 months. And yes, we actually, yes, no, actually, no, let me take that back a little. We were going to do a month. And then when we were there, remember I mentioned that I had some things that were going on in my private life that were upside down. Yeah. I had resigned from my job in Arusha, my NGO job. My kids were still going to school in Arusha. And then friends, the support system that we have, they're like, hey, Lucy, why don't you look into the US? Why don't you stay in the US? I mean, what are you going back to Nairobi, to Arusha for?
Like, why are you in a hurry?
Why are you in a hurry? Uko, your house is falling apart. The kids' education, you can homeschool them. Just take your time and explore the US. And I thought, why not? Yeah. And since I'm I'm able to make my decisions just like that, jump and make up my mind, I decided, okay. So from a month visit, we stayed on. We had a 6-month visa. Okay. So when you enter the US, you're given a 6-month visa. So we stayed on in the US for a while. My parents got bored and came back to Kenya. They decided this
So
is
by
too
month-
much.
what,
By
month-
November,
month
they said this is
two?
Maridi,
Oh,
month 3.
month 3, then
Month 3,
your
they were
parents were
so
done.
tired.
Okay.
And then we were able to convince them, okay, wait for something we call Thanksgiving. They wait. No, actually, they didn't even wait for Thanksgiving. They just left. And I was left alone with my kids. And by
But the
this
kids must
time,
have been enjoying them. Were they enjoying
they
America?
were, but they were missing school. They were missing school, and I couldn't put them in school. And I told them I can teach them at home. We can do homeschooling. And this time round, I thought many Kenyans go to America and they find their way. And here I am with my 2 children. Why can't I find my way? So I began exploring ways. And it was difficult. Everybody had different advice. My hosts were a bit uncomfortable because there's the fear of the government will catch up with you and they'll be in trouble. So we explored different ways. My son especially.
So sorry,
yes,
I'm interrupting.
It's okay.
But so
it's
you're
okay.
exploring these different ways of how, you know, I mean, you've lived now already in a foreign country anyway, so how, you know, you can settle now in the States. After all, you have family there.
Yes,
And,
I had family there.
and a lot of people dream of going to America. So the American dream can be a reality.
Yes, and everybody's like, why are you coming back home? I'm like, no, I don't have legal papers to. Yeah, I'm legally a visitor here, but I can't work. I can't take my kids to school. And everybody's like, Kenyans do it all the time. Find your way, find your way. What do you mean? You're a toughie. I was brought up in Jericho. You find your street smart. And I tried. I really tried to find my ways around. And I repeat, my kids were very uncomfortable. My daughter was about 8 years then. My son was about 13, so he was older. And he was very uncomfortable. He's like, Mom, this is not school. I want to go to school properly.
So, okay, this is not school. So you were home. You had already started homeschooling.
Yes. Just like getting the syllabus from my people in Arusha was easy, and said let's just give it time. Let's just see how it's gonna work out. And the working out, actually, to tell you the truth, and it meant for me to find legal papers. It meant finding a kimodo. Finding a kimodo.
Man, yes.
And settling down. And since back home, the father of my kids, it was an informal relationship.
Yeah, so you were a free woman.
And I remember telling God, I started quoting to God, my friend A, my friend B, my friend C, they did this and they settled and they're Christians and they made it. Why can't I do it?
You know, actually, we celebrate when someone gets a visa, even if it's a visitor's visa. As Christians, we're like, yeah, go stay in America. What do you mean you're coming back? Wow, interesting.
And then what happens, Wavinya, is that people don't share the struggles. People don't share how they come through. People don't share the hell they go through, because it is hell. Yes.
You found a man.
Let me not
Get there.
first,
Okay.
Let me first give you why I found a man very quickly. I'll tell you the reason.
So we are 4 months in.
We are 4 months in.
Okay, so you're still legally
Come
in-
month
yeah.
5.5. Come December. My brothers, I have brothers in my life who, just movers and shakers. So my brothers in Nairobi called me and said, Madam, it's 6 months. Your visa is about to expire. What are you still doing there? I'm like, but I'm settling down here. And they said, no, you bring those children back home. If your papers expire, you're okay. You don't have to ever visit the US again. But if the papers of the kids expire and things go wrong, they will never be able to visit the US again. So come back home.
Your brothers are wonderful. So they were thinking
That time I didn't think they were wonderful.
You're like,
But
this is
yeah.
my life and these are my
Yes,
children.
Yes, but also my parents were pressurizing me, come back home, come back home. You're highly educated, you cannot just go under. You cannot Zamia, you can't go chini ya maji. And I listened to them, but also the Kenyans in America will give you a lot of ideas. Why don't you just fly to next door, fly to Mexico, fly to, because with the US visa you can enter Mexico and only any other South American countries. Fly there, stay there for 2 days and fly back. The idea is to get a fresh 6-month visa. And I'm telling you, Wavinya, I almost did that. I explored, I checked the tickets, they made sense, but my spirit somehow did not agree with that. There's nothing online that is written. You know how people share their experiences? Nobody has put it out there and said, you cannot fly. And I will tell you the reason why.
Ebu, hold that thought. We need to take a short break now. When we return, We'll hear more about this story. Don't go away.
Every Sunday is worship day. We are upgrading your Sunday experience to the ultimate worship experience. It's an all-day praise and worship experience. From the powerful anthems of elevation worship harmonious sounds of choirs and the timeless echoes of hymn, to the soulful classics of Bill Gaithers and the groovy rhythms of reggae music. We've got a segment for everyone. Ultimate Worship Sunday, every Sunday on Hope TV from dawn to dusk. Tune in to Hope TV on Go TV channel 27, Zuku Cable channel 873, Signet channel 817, and on our website at hopemediakenya.org/Hope TV Live. Hope TV, look and live.
Hope TV is where you look and live, with an excellent selection of the best Christian programming consisting of local and international content of inspirational stories, talk shows, Bible commentary, youth, health shows, children entertainment, contemporary gospel music, extended times of worship, live broadcast, news, movies, drama, Christian ministry programs, and so much more. Hope TV is another quality service from Christ is the Answer Ministries, with over 45% of authentic and credible local content every week. Hope TV is a sister station to Hope FM, Kenya's leading Christian radio station, with footprints across the country. Tune in to Hope TV, where you look and live.
Welcome back. You're watching Expensive Lessons with me, Wavinya. My guest today, wow, has a hot story, Expensive Lessons, Lucy Nganga. So you're sharing with us, you went to America with the family to visit your brother who had just had a baby. And you went, with your children, parents. Parents got tired, 3 months later came back. Now we're 5 months in, you even started homeschooling children and thinking this is the space. American dream. You're getting pressure from now family back home telling you, girl, come back home. Or you stay, send the children back home. And then of course there are the Kenyans in America telling you, this is how we'll show you how we do it.
This is how we do it. So Wavinya, so I shelved the idea of flying to South America and back. I actually had quite some money then, interested when I look back. And I decided, let me just go home. Remember when we left in July, I was just going to the US for a month. So I still had my house in Arusha, I had my workers in Arusha, I had just home, my home. So we jumped into a plane and I told my brother, we'll be back. And landed in Nairobi, and the following day dashed over to Arusha. And by this time I'm very excited. I'm going back to America. Went to the kids' school, told them thank you so much for the years we've been with you. We are going to America. And closed house And I'm telling you, Anne, within 3-4 days, I had packed my viragos, put them on a lorry, even I think I had a farewell party in Arusha.
In that short time?
Yes, and I left Arusha, came back to Nairobi. I don't remember a lot of details. I just remember in 10 days from landing, 10 days.
No jet lag, forget jet lag.
What is that? We were back and in a plane and well, heading back to America. And now this time I knew I was going, since I have 6 months, in those 6 months, nitakuwa nimejipanga. Let me crack you up. And I carried my most greatest earthly possessions. I had a pressure cooker in my bag and I had bed sheets. Everything else I could leave behind, but those were worldly possessions for me. And we left, and my parents, are you sure? I'm like, yeah. Meanwhile, I'm arranging with a friend of mine now in a different state in Philadelphia who told me, you come, I'll host you, move away from family, I'll host you, I'll get you a kimudo, I'll get you a school for the kids in our state, it's very easy, and I'll get you a job. And I remember that time my argument with God over and over again was, God, you make it work for other Christians. The people I know who've gone this route are not, they are believers. So why not me? So we land at the airport in Maryland, I forget the name. And the visa officer asked me, no, at the visa place where you're stamped. He looked at my passport, he took my kids' passports and stamped their passports. He did not stamp my passport. And I'm like, hallelujah, Lord, hallelujah, thank you. Because I was scared. Of course I was scared. And then we go to customs to pick our bags. We pick our bags, and as we were exiting, they said, hold on a little, please go in there. And when you're stopped at customs, more often than not, you think it's your bags I want to check. Maybe bachapo, have you carried farmer's choice sausages? Sausages, yes, it was just customs here. And I remember thinking, how come there's no visa stamp on my passport? That time they used to, they stamp. Nowadays they don't stamp. And I thought, Lord, kama wamesahau sio makosa yangu, so I'm good to go. So I went confidently to the counter, to the offices, my friend, and that is where another world started.
Wow.
I was grilled for about 4 hours. 4 hours, over and over again.
So wait, so you have the babies?
Yes. They're there playing, tired. They're just ruka in there. I'm at the counter.
Now, like those people who have carried drugs? Or
Yes, what we see, actually it's pretty similar to that. Only that this time around the issue is not what I'm carrying, but why are you back in our country and you were here 10 days ago? They can say, 10 days ago. I'm like, I'm always here. This is my 5th, 6th time in the US. Why are you asking me questions? Yeah, but you were here 10 days ago. Why have you come back? Me, I'm on leave. I'm on leave. I've come to take a prolonged leave. And your children, I'm going to homeschool them. And they kept asking me those questions over and over again. And it reached a place where I just got tired. Then they asked me, are you coming to get married in this country? I said, no. How? I'm a professional. I'm a high-level flying Kenyan woman. Are you taking your kids to school? I'm like, no, I'm not taking my kids to school. You know what they did? They said, okay, give us your phone. Nobody had prepared me or told me those guys have the right to take your phone.
What?
And that time the phones were normal phones. It's not where you use your fingerprint, or it had no password, nothing. You know, like now you can put 30 seconds out. You can't. You have to keep it. They took my phone and went back to the back office, and for half an hour,
your messages?
and read all my messages, from email to texts to WhatsApp. I think that time WhatsApp had come. I said, Lord, it's okay. Poor God, we always run to him. Even when we're in trouble, even when we take ourselves in that hole, we still run to God. And then as someone was checking the messages at the back, now there were 2. Another officer asked me, looked at our 3 trolleys, big trolleys, and I wanted him to ask for the bag which had the sufuria or something. He picked on a backpack. 3 backpacks, he picked on one. And that one backpack he picked on had my son's books. The books we were using for his schooling. I mean, there were 3 backpacks. The rest of us had everything else but books. His backpack had books. And they opened and they said, is your son going to school in America? I said, no. You know, if you went to school in America, you'd be using the American taxpayer. It is illegal. I told him, no, he's not. And I was so scared because there were books to implicate him.
Yeah.
And then they came back with the phone. So you're getting married.
So wait, so these are the messages from your friend
Yes.
saying that
She's outside waiting for me.
hook you up with.
Found $10,000.
So the officers read your messages
Yes.
about now the plans
Yes.
of even this man that
Yes.
is going to marry you.
Yes.
So the marriage is really for convenience so that you can get papers.
Yes.
Because that's how a lot of people end up now getting their papers is
Correct.
you pay somebody who's a citizen,
Yes.
you actually legally marry them,
Yes.
and then now you get your green card, whatever.
Yes,
Wow.
Wavinya. And I'd been told within 6 weeks I'll be working. And my fight...
And all of this they've read.
Yes. And my fight with God is that God, everybody does this. Why can't I do it? Atamin ataka, you know, like you can
Everybody
imagine in a
does
family,
this.
everybody has climbed that tree when you want to climb that tree. So he came back to me and he told me, you're coming to get married. And I said, no, but I can see it here. No, you are reading your own things because as Kenyans, we speak in Kikuyu, in Kiswahili and English. And let me tell you, after arguing with him, it reached a place where I told him, just do what you want to do now. I'm tired. That time my kids have played, they're tired. I've put on my mother coffee and I told them, by the way, can you get my kids something to eat and drink? They're hungry. This is 4 hours and after an 18-hour flight. I don't remember whether they gave him, I think they gave them something to eat if I'm not wrong. Yeah. So I told them I'm tired and just do what you want to do. So finally after 4 hours, Odile, Wavinya, this guy called me up and told me, now listen, I still remember his name was Santiago, something like that.
Wow.
Yes,
You
I remember,
his
and my
name.
memory is horrible. I remember that man, he looked me in the eye and he told me, the only reason I am not putting you back on that plane is because of these children. They are tired and they will not hack another ride back. Let me tell you something else. If you want your children to go to school in this country, do it the right way. There is a right way and they will go to school. If you want to get married, listen to me. If you want to get married, there is a right way. Do the right thing. And I'm looking at you and you look like a trustworthy person. So I'm giving you 2 weeks. I remember that story like the day I got saved. I'm giving you 2 weeks. Go in and put your house in order. Put your act together and leave this country within 2 weeks. Come back with the right papers. And I want you to promise me you're going to leave after 2 weeks. Of course, I said, yes, sir, yes, sir. By the time I got outside, I was tired, I was exhausted. Wavinya, my world crumbled.
And then your friend had been waiting all that time. So was she outside? Were there people waiting?
I have a haze of that situation. What I remember is I ended up in my brother's house, which was about an hour away from there. I told everybody what had happened. I'm not going to hide. I don't know that I look back now, I should have hidden. And I had a wild 2 weeks. So I'm in the country now. My kids have continued with their life. They don't know what's going on. 13 and 9. Yeah? They had no idea what's going on. 8, 9. And I struggled for those 2 weeks. So I had 2 versions of me in those 2 weeks. The version that is still pursuing. I even went to see this friend who was getting me a kimondo. Yes. I went to see her in the state she lived in. And then she took me to see a lawyer. The lawyer was a Jew. Hallelujah, a Jew. I mean, it could have been anybody else, a Jew. And the Jew asked me, have you killed anybody? No. Have you committed a crime in this country? No. So why are you going back? Allah, it's an easy thing. I finish this thing for you and you start working. And my friend told me, here's a house. This is your room. I'll get you into this school. Everything done.
So on one hand, the guy, what do they call them? The agent, the customs people.
Yes, the customs officer. Yeah,
the officer.
Yeah.
At the entry point.
Yes.
Has given you 2 weeks and looked in the eye and made you promise to go back.
Yes.
And then now, on the other hand, your original plan and Kenyan
has to kick in.
Has kicked in
Yes.
and even are sitting in front of a lawyer who's
Yes.
telling you,
A Jew.
a Jewish lawyer who is telling you.
So he's from God.
Yes, he's from God.
Yes.
They're original. They
Yes.
are the firstborns.
Yeah.
Yes, they are the first.
Yes.
They're the
Yes.
firstborns.
And then on the other hand, my parents back at home, I'm like, come back home, come back home. You cannot go under. I don't know why they were refusing me to go under. All other people go under. But they're like, please don't.
Hey, this story just gets juicier. I need to take a break. Just a short commercial break. We're gonna take a short break. This story is juicy. Don't go away. Don't go away. We'll be right back.
Join John Carson every weekday as he takes us on a journey through the Bible.
Whoever shall seek to save his life, if you go back to living for yourself, you're going to lose it. But whoever shall lose his life, give up his life for my sake, he shall preserve it.
Enjoy interesting, knowledge-packed, yet simple teachings through his humor and in-depth understanding of God's Word.
The last people that tried to put God in a box, literally, he rose again. He wouldn't stay in their compartment. If God was small enough for me to figure out, he wouldn't be big enough for me to worship.
Tune in to Hope TV for John Carson every 10 p.m., 4 a.m., and 10 a.m. weekdays on Hope TV, where you look and live.
Going back to the heart of worship.
Whether up the mountain or down the valley, we were created to worship God.
Enjoy carefully selected worship music every Wednesday all day long.
Oh, I will sing of the goodness of God.
Miracles happen when you move. We take it a notch higher with more worship music.
Every Wednesday
Is Worship Wednesday.
only on Hope FM. Listen and leave.
Hope TV is where you look and live, with an excellent selection of the best Christian programming consisting of local and international content, of inspirational stories, talk shows, Bible commentary, youth, health shows, children entertainment, contemporary gospel music, extended times of worship, live broadcast, news, movies, drama, Christian ministry programs, and so much more. Hope TV is another quality service from Christ is the Answer Ministries, with over 45% of authentic and credible local content every week. Hope TV is a sister station to Hope FM, Kenya's leading Christian radio station, with footprints across the country. Tune in to Hope TV, where you look and live.
Welcome back. You're watching Expensive Lessons with me, Wavinya. My guest today is Lucy Nganga. Wow, Lucy, before we went on the break, you've been sharing with us this thrilling story of your American
Escapade.
journey. So now this is back to America round
Yes.
2.
Back to America round 2.
And you have been given 14 days on one
14
hand.
days,
And then
yes.
on the other hand, the vision for why you originally now packed everything and now sold everything, had
Yes.
farewell parties,
Yes.
can be a reality.
Yes. So I pursued that vision. Once I saw this Jewish lawyer, he really convinced me it's all good to go. Meanwhile, my parents and my brothers are just saying, come back home, come back home. And I was really torn. My son was also very unhappy. And
So your son is the older one?
he's older.
Okay,
But he was only 13 then, yeah.
But out
He
of
was,
the children?
Yes, he's older and he was very unhappy. So anyway, I was inclined more towards staying. And I actually told my brother who I was staying with, my friend, I'm not going to spoil your papers for you. I'm leaving. I'll leave next week, over the weekend. So we've done a whole week. We are into a Saturday, and my last day in America was Wednesday. So I told him I'm leaving. I didn't tell him where I'm going. I just said I'm leaving. I didn't unpack the plan because I didn't want him to be in a situation where if he's followed up, he has to say where I am. Yeah. So I didn't want to give him that information.
Yani, you're thinking like a smooth criminal now.
Yeah, I was. Yani.
I
So
love it.
that Saturday, before the Wednesday when I was supposed to leave, I remember my brother took my children and went out with my children and his children. I was left in the house alone. And I remember I prayed and asked God to give me direction. And I couldn't hear anything. I cried. I mean, I cannot remember the last time I was that floored. I was on the floor prostrate. And I called a friend. Then I called a friend of a friend of a friend. Meaning I didn't want to call any of my friends who know me because already they'd given me the advice which I was taking. I was not listening. So I called this total stranger and I said, hi, my name is Lucy. I'm a friend of your friend. And I want you to tell me what I should do. This is my scenario and I can't hear the Lord. No, I can't make up my mind. And she asked me, what is the Lord telling you? I told her, if the Lord was speaking to me, see, would I have called you? You fine, you're a Christian, I hear you're a believer, you hear for me. She said, okay. She put the phone down. Now later on she told me, of course she said she had no answer. So she picked up the phone and called her sister in Canada. These are Kenyans. And said, I have a friend of a friend. Now she's my friend. And she's debating whether on Wednesday she should leave the country or not. She has these two brilliant children and she wants to find a way in America. And she was ready to give up everything back in Nairobi. What should she do? Her sister didn't tell her, let me pray. Her sister didn't tell her, let me think about it. Her sister told her, go and pick up the phone and call your friend Lucy and tell her the Lord has said he will help those children when they are back in Nairobi. The Lord has said she packs her bags. Not this the right thing to do. The Lord has said she packs her bags and goes back home.
Those children shall be helped
when they're in Nairobi, Kenya. How? Remember, I have left tumefunga shule ya Arusha. They were going to an international school in Arusha. The cost of an international school in Arusha is 1/3 of Kenya. I stayed on in Arusha after I left my job in 2012 to 2016 because the school was affordable. I knew I could not afford in Kenya. So she comes back to me. But by the time she's coming back to me, my spirit has calmed down. The dust has settled and I can hear the voice very clearly. Lucy, go home.
So how many days of those 14 do you still have now when this message has come?
Saturday to Wednesday. So by the time she's telling me go home, I've also had go home and I calm down. I tell her I have had. But for me, the beauty of this story is how the Lord just knows you and knows you so well and works through strangers. And I'm not saying we are all going to get fleeces or anything. He knows you and he will deal with you in his own way. Maybe he had spoken to me a million other times and I hadn't had. But this time I had to go home from my spirit and from my friend, who we are still very good friends until today. And we have never met. We still talk on phone. So I tell my brother, relax, I'm going to go home. Come Wednesday, early in the morning, I think I had a 10 a.m. flight. Pack my kids in an Uber at 6 a.m. We head to the airport. Bye, upset. Remember, I had things in America. I had come with more things, so I left.
Plus pressure cooker and sheets.
Pressure cooker and my beautiful bed sheets from India given to me by a friend called Myra.
Wow.
So I left them behind. Nairobi fanya nini? See, I'll still find my way back to America. So heading to the airport, there was an accident on the way. So yeah, the story gets better. So we get to the airport at 8:55 a.m. Flight is for 10. By the time we exit the Uber, because there was an accident, so we lost time. My brother and my mother keep saying, barabara suya mama yako, leave early. I should have left like 2 a.m. So by the time we get to the counter, on our way to the counter, my daughter drops the trolley, it falls apart. I lost those 5 precious minutes just getting to the counter. We got to the counter, the Emirates counter at 9:01. Flight is for 10. Sorry, ma'am, you can't board. We've closed the flight. I have to leave the country. Sorry, ma'am, we've closed the flight. Let me tell you, Wavinya, I fought, I begged, I cried, I did all drama. I am an illegal immigrant. If the day passes today, I cannot leave the country. I mean, I'll be an illegal immigrant. They don't care. The only thing we can do, ma'am, is that we'll put you on another flight that will take you to New York. Then from New York, you'll catch another flight tomorrow. So if I do Maryland to New York, I'll still be in the country. The following day, my visa will have expired. And I look up and I tell Lord, you mean the Jew was right? Remember the Jew? Maybe
Yeah, so if you're looking for a sign,
yeah.
so maybe that road accident that delayed your time.
I'm left there with my 2 children and our 6 bags, and I'm stranded. I have no idea what to do. So I leave my kids and I start walking around the airport like I'm a Woroki. And I'm walking around, praying, crying, and then I see a policeman. This is a true story. Yeah. I see a policeman and I stop him. And I tell him, excuse me, sir, tomorrow I'm going to be an illegal immigrant in your country. Let me report myself. Yeah. I'm not seen it in a movie. Me, I believe those are just God's prompts. And I keep saying, God has given you a voice. God has given you muhahe. Yeah. God has made you a bit crazy. Use it to his glory. Yeah. So I said, tomorrow I'll be an illegal immigrant.
So can help you.
Yeah, oh yeah. Yes. He said, you foreigners. Then he said, no, he said this. Me, I'm not an immigration policeman. I'm a normal policeman. But if you go straight, turn left, you'll see an immigration police office there.
Yeah.
So I walked there. I reported myself again. Today's my last in this country. Tomorrow I'm going to be an illegal immigrant. I'm reporting myself early. Yeah. I want to leave the country. Your people have refused me to leave. We know you people, you foreigners, you Nigerian. He even used that word. I'm like, I'm not Nigerian. Yeah. So he said, we know you're just planning to stay on. I told him, hold on, I have my 2 children waiting. Let me go get them. We sit here so that you can arrest us properly tomorrow. Yeah. So as I walk out, they realize this mama is crazy. They said, okay, hold on. Don't get your children. Don't get your children. We hear you. So when's the next flight? Tomorrow morning at 10. They picked up my passport and stamped it. Wavinya, I have a 1-day visa in my passport. 1 day. It was handwritten. I doubted that visa until it came to be later on. They gave me and told me, you're fine to stay on until tomorrow. 24 hours. So I walked out, I took my kids.
But I really love that at this point you were wanting to maintain your status now.
Yes,
so there was now...
I had heard the Lord, and now he's confused me by telling me I can't leave the country.
The devil has also come.
Yes, yeah, that time it was him. I'm like, was the Jew right? Was the lawyer right?
Yeah.
You're grabbing any rope you can.
Yeah.
Okay. So I went back to my kids and I said, we have to spend the night. Children are children. Yippee, we're going to a hotel. They can't see the stress on my face. Took them to a hotel. They were happy today. In that trip, that hotel, they still remember. I remember the name of the hotel. It's one of these big hotels, but airport hotels. Yeah. Anyway, we spent the night. The following day, at 5 a.m., we're at the counter. Like for a flight of 10, you can't, but it was an airport hotel. It was nearby and everything. And we came back home.
So now, of course, you didn't have a home, so you came back?
I came back to Nairobi, and my brother, I have 5 brothers. One of my brother, the one who picked me up, my oldest brother, tells me he has never seen me in the state that I was in that day. I don't remember. He told me I wasn't sad, I was devastated. Where am I going to? Was my question. What am I going to do with these 2 children? I cannot go back to Arusha. I cannot put them back to school. I have given up my Arusha home. I've been away from this country for 17 years. Where am I going to start?
And now you've spent money on tickets.
I have spent money on
visit
tickets.
Babies, you've tickets for 2 weeks back.
I've spent a lot of money, and now I'm back. And the Lord has said, go back home. So he said he just picked me up. He looked at me. The kids were happy to be home, and we went to my parents' house. And I think the next leg is another story altogether.
But yeah,
yes.
So this is
but
what
I
you
honored the
by
visa. I honored the
cost
visa.
Of the lesson
Yes.
was that you lost everything to do the right thing.
Yes. I lost and I was very, very upset with God. I was very upset with God. But what he told me now through the trip over and over again, he told me, Lucy, I'm not saying those people did wrong. Those people meaning all the hundreds of friends we have in America. And I'm not saying that's the route you should go or not. I'm not even saying they did wrong and you're the holy one. I'm just telling you that is not the path I want you to take. That is not the route I want you to take. So Lord, what route do you want me to take? Silence.
Maybe for me, I know this story has a happy ending, and maybe you can just summarize it now before we go into the lessons learned. But in terms of just, did these children ever school in America, or like, what is in short?
In very short, because
yes,
that's
because the devastation of losing everything.
I love
a righteous
the next
man may fall 7 times.
Yes, fell. Christian, everybody's looking at you, so where is your God? Everybody, so what were you thinking? Where is your God? What was your plan? So you haven't done the American Kenyan way. You haven't in Nairobi and Arusha. You've also given up all that made you to where you are. So God was not looking nice in the eyes of very many people. But yeah, there's a good end to this story. It's a long, long story which I love sharing. Probably we'll do it another day. But the short and long of it is that in those 6 months that my son was in the US, he discovered that there are schools in the US that give scholarships. So when we landed home, after a day of being in a daze, he told me, Mom, you remember I told you about this school that offers scholarships? I said, He said, yeah, Mom, and it expires in 2 days. This was the 28th of January. It expires 29th. It expires 1st of Feb. Can we apply? I had nothing to lose. So I said, okay, let me bring it to your attention here that he had given me the story of that school in October the year before. I ignored him. What school? You want to go America? Chill. Mother knows everything. So 29th of January, he says, Mom, let's apply. And for 2 days, we didn't sleep. And God worked and worked.
So this is a private school?
It's a private school. And they need your text, they need your report cards, they need recommendations, they need things that you have done the last 5 years of your life. I open my laptop, as I start typing, I see a very quiet file at the corner. I open the file and I find this young man has been writing essays, poems, stuff for the last 3 years. I had never seen them. I click open and I find like 50 pages of stuff he's been writing. I'm like, those are the days when you had one computer in the house, office computer. So he never shared. He just sits and writes his music. I took that whole file, uploaded it, ran to his teachers. Oh, we are back, long story, but can you give me recommendations? That was 1st of Feb. Come March 12th, I get an email. We are happy to let you know that your son has been accepted in this school. And I'm like, thank you for accepting, but I don't have a penny to my name. Meanwhile, I'm homeschooling my kids. Well, I can't go to Braemar.
I mean, of course, you came back to
I cannot do 844. Yes, yeah. They were in the British system. So there's nothing I could do. I was homeschooling them. My daughter was still very young. She didn't mind. My son hated it. Very opinionated fella. Good opinionated. So I wrote to the school and I said, thank you for accepting us, but I can't even fika Nyanyuki, live alone America.
Schools in America cost more than universities.
$80,000. 80, and you have not counted tickets and you've not counted pocket money.
So you're talking about 10 million.
And they said, Madam, we sent you a whole document through mail showing you your son has a full scholarship. Full scholarship. Until today, Wavinya, I've never seen that mail. I keep saying it got lost. Someone was alidanganya na akambio peleka mtoto na hii. But that was that is.
So the lady, the friend of the friend of the friend of the friend,
yes,
who gave you a message and told you,
yes,
God has said your children shall be helped when they're in Nairobi. Yes. Your son got a scholarship.
Full scholarship.
That he applied for 2 days after you landed
yes,
in Kenya.
Yes.
To a private high school.
High school, private high school.
In America.
That offered not only tuition, not only boarding, but 2 tickets per year to come home. That offered him pocket money, which we lived on because he didn't. He was being given $20 a week. That's $80 a month. What is he going to do with $80 a month? That was a lot of money in Kenya. We saw God. And after that, we settled. We are happy with the whole arrangement. I'll tell you in a different forum how my daughter also went to school. But that was March, April, May. So in May they asked me, and what is your son doing now at home? Homeschooling. Is he coming for summer school? I'm like, what is summer school? That time we've gotten our visas ready, gone to the embassy, got our visas. His visa, me, I didn't need a visa. Remember, I still had a 5-year visa. And they're like, no, there's summer school. Can you bring him for summer school? We'll sponsor him. We didn't apply. They called him. So I took him for summer school. Now, this is where the story gets interesting. When I took him for summer school, my dad...
So the same year you still traveled back to
That
America?
is it. You picked it. So my dad was like, madam, you can't go back. You were there the other day and you almost kicked out. Send your brother. I'm like, no, it's my child. I'm taking. So Santiago had told me, this is how we caught you. And this is very important, and I'm not telling Christians to do wrong things, but these are facts that we don't know. When you enter the US, if you stay in the US for 3 months, you must exit for 3 months. If you stay in the US for 2 weeks, you must exit for those 2 weeks before you go back. So that if you don't balance that out, it picks you out. You're on their red radar. That's how they caught me. And he told me very well, learn this lesson. So you are here for 6 months. If you had stayed out for 6 months and come back, we would not have picked you up. Imagine, he didn't have to tell me that. So remember, I had exceeded by 1 day. Remember, I had a 1-day visa. But I counted my months from December to when I was taking my son back, and I said, it's already 6 months. And I had a 1-day visa, I've done that 1 day. And I said, let me take the risk. So I took him for summer school. To arrive there, summer school, this is another important point for travelers. I'm very happy I have my visa. He has 2 visas in his passport. And they ask, where is he going? He's going to school. Okay, but school starts in September. Yep, but he's been called to school. No, you can't enter the country. F1 visa allows you to enter the country a month before school begins.
Now this is the
July. This is like almost 3 months. July, August, September, 2 months, yeah. That's what I told God, yeah, bembelezi. You can't bring us, we have 2 visas. So they again sent us to that small office. But now this was in Boston. We went and I said, guys, how many hours is he going to do in school? I don't know, but he's going to school. Pick up the phone, call the school, it's a Sunday, nobody's in school. So this immigration, again, the hand of the Lord looked at us and said, next time you're coming for summer school, don't tell us immigration officers you're coming to school. We don't understand summer school, just say you're coming to visit. So summer school is treated as a visit. We didn't know. He's going to school. We say the truth again.
wow.
So he told us, I'll accept him in with his visitor's visa. And then when he comes in September, he can use his student visa. And tell your friends, I don't know where these guys are coming from. And people have a lot of unpleasant experiences with the US. And I want to say, I don't say they're good people, but I want to say the Lord was on our side and we met really good officers. So he went in, he did his school, we left the country in time, and then he went back in September for school. And that is how the Lord, we have a song we sing in Kikuyu said, meaning a tree, when you cut it and you just leave it at the stump, it can still sprout again. And that is what we felt. It sprouted afresh for us. We got another lease of life. Because at the end of the day, for a mother, if the kids are going to school and they're taken care of, everything else you can manage.
Plus, this new sprouting was not just a sprouting. This was for doing the right thing. You are blessed now beyond.
Yes.
Lucy, I
Yes.
need to have you back on this show. Thank you so much for coming on the show. Thank you for sharing your story with us. It's been amazing, powerful.
I thank God. I thank God. And Wavinya, let me say this. I'm not a good person. I'm a sinner saved by grace. And I didn't do the right thing because I'm a goody-goody. The Lord spoke loud and I cried to the Lord. And the Lord knew my breaking point and knew where to lift me up. And I tell people, I'm not condemning anybody who's going under for life. It's not a good path. It's a very difficult path, but I'm not condemning. At the end of the day, even when you tell the Lord, Lord, this is the path I want to take, and let me tell you, you can look into the Bible and find verses that will support you. They left Egypt and went to Canaan and conquered and took over. They were fighting. That was the land. Me, I keep saying America is our Lord's land, so don't tell me it's for the Americans. But when you walk with him, when you beg him to talk to you, when you ask him to whisper in your ear, he will whisper and show you the path that you should.
Wow, Lucy. You know, when we began this show, we started with the scripture, Proverbs 24 verse 16, that tells us that a righteous man may fall 7 times, but he will rise again. I hope this story has inspired you, those of you who are feeling like you have fallen. You're righteous, you have fallen, whether you did the wrong thing, you know, and you're just thinking you cannot rise up again. I like Lucy's Kikuyu proverb for even if you cut a tree, it will sprout again. So surely you will sprout again, even if you have fallen. You've been watching Expensive Lessons with me, Wavinya. Have a great week. God bless.